and welcome to the dawn of world sports. I am the Donfather and I'm absolutely delighted to announce the launch of my top 5 players mini series that I'm going to be doing on the channel. First up, it's the turn of AFL, that's Australian rules football. And just a little info before we get going. The top 5 is voted for by you, the viewers and subscribers of the Don's channel and the Dawn of World Sports, and I've managed to pick my top 5 from the votes from the players that were picked and put to me by you, and then I've done a poll from the top 5, and that's how we've came up with our top 5 in order. Okay, so that's how it's worked. And as I said, this is top 5 greatest ever players in Australian rules football history. Now that's the SANFL, VFL, just every state put together, AFL, over the years of Australian rules football. This is the top 5. So then, in 5th place, Tony Plugger Lockett. Anthony Howard Tony Lockett, born on the 9th of March 1966. He is the highest goal scorer in the history of the VFL stroke AFL ever, tallying up an unbelievable figure, right? This is incredible. 1,360 goals in 281 games. That in itself, just that in its own right, deserves him to be in the top 5 in my opinion. If you do your job that well, regardless of your position, he is a goal scorer. And not only is he a goal scorer, 1,360 goals in 281 games. And the type of player Plugger was, he was an all-action, no-nonsense forward, unbelievable eye for goal, unbelievable talent, kicking technique, second to none of course, brilliant at taking marks, very, very aggressive, but because of this aggressive style, it landed him in trouble sometimes, and he had to face suspensions. One of the old-time kind of enforcers of the game, hard as a bag of nails, would leave an elbow on you, would probably smack you, no problem at all, and this seen him facing suspensions. So that got me thinking, if it wasn't for suspensions, how many games would this guy have actually played? Therefore, how many goals may he have actually scored? It's a frightening thought.
Nobody ever guessed that this young man was destined to become the very best. Yeah, there's only one Tony Lockett. There's only one Tony Lockett. One Tony Lockett. There's only one Tony Lockett.
So anyway, on to the more stats from Tony. Starting in 1983 with St Kilda and ending in 2002 with Sydney Swans. He got the Brownlow Medal in 1987, only full forward ever to receive this award, and that stands to this day, I believe. 4 times Coleman medalist, which is the most goals in the AFL, VFL in that calendar year, in that year of football. So that was 4 times Coleman medalist, 6 times more than 100 goals in a season, 6 times he hit over a century. That is incredible. That record is shared with another legend of the game who's not made it into the top 5, Jason Dunstall, who was an incredible kicker for goal. He played 5 games for Victoria as well, scoring 19 goals. Tony Plugger Lockett absolutely deserves to be in this list. The amount of goals he scored, there is no doubt why you've all picked Tony Plugger Lockett to be in the greatest ever AFL, VFL, whatever state football you've played. Greatest Australian rules football player, top 5, without a doubt. Okay then, so that puts us on to 4th place. 4th place is Gary Ablett Jr. It's Gary Ablett Jr. You're probably wondering, for anybody who's not familiar with AFL or Aussie rules football, Gary Ablett Jr. his father played the game, and let's just say they're both incredible football players, and that's why I gave you a little bit of a delay just to see which one was it. So Gary Ablett Jr. 4th place. His position then, midfielder, forward. He started off at Geelong due to the father-son rule. So he started at Geelong 2002 to 2010. He played 192 games for the Cats, scoring 262 goals. He then moved to the Gold Coast Suns, who have been a new club. Let's just say the AFL project club. They got them going, and he went there. There's no denying it was a money move. They've encouraged senior players within the game greats, to go to the Gold Coast Suns to help promote them and make them a team worthwhile being in the league for a start. So he went to the Gold Coast Suns anyway in 2011 to 2017, playing 110 games for the Gold Coast Suns and scoring 124 goals. I've seen some highlights at the Gold Coast Suns, and he's played some incredible football there as well. Problem being, Gold Coast Suns were never going to be a club that was ever going to be competing for silverware or up there in the top 8 clubs finals footy. But Gary Ablett Jr. never did himself any harm going there. He still played absolutely fantastic football there, and as I said, mounting an incredible fate of 124 goals. Now he's back at Geelong, where it all began, where his father played. 2018 to present, he's played 43 games and he's got 50 goals to date, and that makes it a total of 345 games, 436 goals for Gary Ablett Jr. On to the next page, just bear with me. There's still more to come. Now this guy, why is he on it? The goals, you're like, oh, that's not an unbelievable amount of goals returned. Bearing in mind he is a midfielder stroke forward, he's not a full forward, half forward, so the goal count isn't just as big. This is where it comes good. 2-time Premiership player, 2-time Brownlow medalist, which is voted for by the umpires of the sport. Best player basically that year. Twice he's won it. 5 times Lee Matthews Trophy winner. 3 times AFLCA champion player of the year, and 8-time All-Australian. Absolutely phenomenal player. Thoroughly deserves to be on this list. If I was picking my top 5, he would certainly be in the top 10. I don't think he would personally have made my top 5. But all that being said, there's no denying he is a modern day great of the game. As in terms of competing with some of the names that are going to follow, I'm not too sure about that, but certainly deserves to be recognised as a great of the sport. 4th place, Gary Ablett Jr. So, on to 3rd place of the greatest Aussie rules players of all time. 3rd place, drum roll please, It's Wayne the King Carey, or Duck as he's known by some.
Need some ground to King running out of room. Around the corner he goes. It bounces in the vicinity of Carey. In the vicinity. Magnificent!
What a goal!
And that is nearly the goal of the season.
He's 48 years old. His position was centre half forward. He played for North Melbourne, the Kangaroos, from 1989 to 2001, playing 244 games for the Kangaroos and scoring an incredible 671 goals. Then he had 2 years out from football. He's not played. 2003 to 2004, he played for Adelaide Crows Football Club, where he played 28 games, scoring 56 goals. Right? Total games 272, total goals 727. Now for his awards then, and this is where it really starts to show why he was involved on this list as voted for by the fans of the channel. There's absolutely no doubt he is a top 5 player of all time. I don't think this is debatable, to be honest with you. Listen to this. 2 times AFL Premiership, 96 and 99. 2 times Lee Matthews, 95 and 98. 7-time All-Australian team. 4-time All-Australian team captain. 4-time North Melbourne best and fairest. 5-time Kangaroos leading goal kicker. North Melbourne captain to 93, from 93 to 2001. Australian Hall of Fame. In 2008, he was named as Australian football's greatest ever player. So that shows you, and that was in the 150 year, I think, anniversary of the sport in 2008 when that was voted, and he picked up top award. So as I say, there's absolutely no doubt as to why Wayne the King Carey, or Duck as he's now known more in his media career, I think. I'm not too sure why the name Duck comes in. I'm sure other people could let me know. But what a player. Some of the stuff I watched of him, it's frightening what he can do with the football. And do you know what? People go to watch players like that there. They can just turn it on at any given time. The flair, the ability to score goals, the ability to get past players, the strength, the power, the speed. The guy had it all. But he finds himself in third. So who the hell could get above Wayne the King Carey? Bearing in mind he was voted Australian Rules Football's greatest ever player in 2008. This one, number two, it is Lee Matthews. Lethal Lee Matthews.
Up in the goal square and Peter Hudson out of the centre half forward position. Right, may not mean a thing, of course.
Rice now kicks forward for the Hawks. A struggle going on. Lee Matthews to get the free kick. 20 points the difference. Matthews always a long way out. 65 yards. There's Hudson in the goal square. Neil behind him. Lawrence in front of him. It's a big kick. Don't tell me he's put it through. Oh, beautiful.
If I was doing the vote and I was picking the players based on what I've watched, Lee Matthews gets this award for me. He gets number 1 as greatest ever Australian Rules Football, but just greatest ever player for me, because when I've watched his stuff, he's kind of got that flair that you see from Indigenous players, that ability to it's like a sixth sense they have to be able to find teammates under pressure, to score goals from impossible angles, to turn like a ballerina on a spot. Just to pivot, duck, dive, dodge, weave. So strong, such a stocky little guy. He's not little, he was big, but short enough. He just blew me away from what I watched. I don't think I've seen anyone come close to this player, in my personal opinion. But on this list, he's second place. Let's give you some stats about Lethal Lee Matthews. Born 1st of March 1952, he was a midfielder. Remember this, he was a midfielder. Now listen to these stats. Hawthorn Football Club, 1971 to 1985, he played 332 games, one club man, absolutely incredible player, legend of the club, 332 games, 915 goals. Midfielder! Unbelievable! He also played for Victoria over the sort of same period from 1971 to 1982, playing 14 games, scoring 29 goals. Incredible stats for a midfielder. Let's go through some awards then of Lethal Lee Matthews. 4 times VFL Premiership player, 8 times Peter Crimmon's Perpetual Memorial Trophy winner, VFLPA MVP award, since been named after the great man himself, the Lee Matthews Trophy. He was a winner of that. All-Australian team 1972, 2 times VFL Team of the Year 1982 and 1983, Coleman Medal 1975, 6 times Hawthorn leading goal kicker. Incredible. Midfielder again, folks. Hawthorn captain, AFL Team of the Century, forward pocket, Australian Football Hall of Fame, and he get given legendary status, and that he is. Hawthorn Hall of Fame, and again, legendary status. He is officially recognised as the best player ever in the 20th century. And I cannot say anything else than it's thoroughly deserved from what I've watched, what I've read. And this is just his playing stuff. His coaching stuff, his coaching awards are breathtaking as well. I mean, the guy is just, I would put him down as, if you include what he's achieved as a player and a coach, the greatest ever person in the history of this sport. It really is that straightforward for me. Some people would say Ron Barassi, but for me it's Lethal Lee Matthews. It's just an opinion. I think he's incredible. So that is second place, guys. Who could be above Lee Matthews? Who could it be? Drum roll please for the overall winner as voted for by my subscribers, viewers and followers of both channels. Drum roll. In first place, it's Gary Ablett Senior.
This comes away. There's the time remaining. The Cats are looking better. Hughes goes long down towards the pocket. Ablett! Oh! We come back to haunt them. Check side kick.
What a fucking player this man is. Born 1st of October 1961. He was a half. Do you know what? He was so versatile. I'm just going to get into it here. This is the positions he's played and comfortably played them. Excuse me, I'm getting excited now. Half forward flank, winger, full forward, and I just put versatile. It's the best way to describe this man. He could do anything. He was that fucking good. Hawthorn 1982 is where he started. He played 6 games, scoring 10 goals. Missed a year in 1983, and then he went to the Cats. That's Geelong Football Club from 1984. Or he missed a year, sorry, and then the next year he went to Geelong. 1984 to 1997. Playing an incredible 242 games for the Cats. Now, listen to this. Scoring an unbelievable amount of goals. 1,021 goals. Incredible stuff. Also played for Victoria from 1984 to 1996. 11 games, 43 goals. And before I go on to awards for this man, obviously you're seeing a little bit of footage here in the video as well. But, I mean, this guy, in and around the goal square, in and around the forward 50, is an absolute predator, like a crouching tiger. He's your worst nightmare as a defender. He's strong, he's quick, he's aggressive, he's got such a spring on him. He gets up, bravery second to none, puts his body on the line to get that footy out of that sky, and claims the Sherrin more often than not, and he can back it up with some of the most deadly kicking the game has ever seen. I absolutely love watching this player. He probably would have been my second, but I can see why you voted him first. His nickname, quite simply, is God. Gary Ablett Senior God. Known as God across the football world. They absolutely love this player for all the right reasons. An absolute joy to watch. My only regret is that I find this sport so late in life. I probably wouldn't have seen that much of him play. Maybe a few, well yeah, we probably would have got a good 10 years of him playing. And being able to watch it and thoroughly enjoy. So, do you know what? That is my only regret, is I've come to this sport so late, I've missed players like this. Thoroughly deserves to be the winner of the greatest ever player in the history of Australian rules football. In my top 5 greatest ever players mini-series, he thoroughly deserves this.
Drifting it now to the half-forward line. Ablett will be the player. Great mark.
Across to Gary Hocking. Tailor-made for Ablett.
The games between these two states, the 3 of the best games ever played. Here's Ablett. Great snap. Geelong can make something of this. Ablett inside and a mark.
Now let's tell you some of his awards. He made it into the AFL Team of the Century, Australian Football Hall of Fame, Lee Matthews Trophy, 1993, 3 times Coleman Medal, 93 to 95, 4 times All-Australian Team, 92 to 95, 4 times VFL AFL Team of the Year, Geelong Best and Fairest, 1984, Norm Smith Medal, 1989. That's the best and fairest on the field of play in a grand final. 9 times Geelong leading goal kicker, Geelong Football Club's greatest ever player, Geelong Football Club Hall of Fame, Geelong captain 95 to 96, Mark of the Century 1994, 2 times Mark of the Year in 85 and 94, Australian Sports Medal in 2000, Centenary Medal 2001, Captain of Victoria in 95, and he also made it into the Victoria Team of the Century. Wow. Now that concludes our first ever episode of Top 5 Players mini-series from any sport all over the world, as picked and voted for by you, the subscribers, followers and viewers of both of our channels. I have absolutely loved hearing some of your votes and reading some of your comments about them. So many people have said, why is this player not in it? Why is that player, when they've seen my top 5, when I put it to the vote of what way the top 5 should be ranked. I will say this. First place, Gary Ablett Senior literally won it by a landslide. Second place was very, very close between Lee Matthews and Wayne the King Carey. He came third, obviously. Fourth was Gary Ablett Jr. and Tony Plugger Lockett. Absolute legend. Goal kicking legend, making it in 5th. Absolutely brilliant list. I'm sure you could have threw a lot more names at me and given me so many reasons why they should be in the top 5 greatest players of all time. But as I said, this was already put to the vote and voted for by you, the supporters, viewers, followers of both channels, and for that I thank you very, very much. I hope you've enjoyed the first ever episode. Coming soon will be either Rugby League, NHL, Rugby Union or NBA The reason why I'm saying those 4 is they are the 4 that I've had votes for, but I need to get more names put in to get the vote higher. So I will stay tuned for more of them going on to the community sections on my social media platforms to put your votes in on those players, the 5 players you like from that sport. Then we'll narrow them down to the top 5, and then we'll put the top 5 to the vote to get our 1 to 5. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the Dawn of World Sports. We're going to be bringing you loads of cool stuff from around the world, and you simply do not want to miss it. Follow us on our social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram, etc. And please, please, please check out Patreon, where you can become a patron. It really does help the channel grow and expand and improve. And also the money that we're getting from that is going into our dream AFL Australia vlogging trip that we're going to be doing in 2021. All money from that's going to help fund this trip, so it would be greatly appreciated if you could become a patron, or even a one-off donation to our GoFundMe. All of that's going to be in the description section also. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. I am the Donfather. Peace and goodbye.